Hello, good morning, bienvenue, Kalimera. This is the Hoof GP, and today I am not trimming this cow's foot, and I'm definitely not trimming this one. This is the Hoof GP. So yes, you caught me right in the intro. I said I am not trimming this cow's foot or this one, and that's simply because I'm not going to work today. Unfortunately, and I really do mean unfortunately, I need to take some time off sometimes to go and do appointments and things like that. Nothing to do with work actually, otherwise it would be work and I wouldn't be taking time off work. But that was part of the reason that Craig and Kevboy were taking on, so that these appointments like the dentist or the doctor or going and doing whatever could be met. The trouble is, when you own your own business, as many of you guys will know, taking the time off work from your baby, from your child that you've nurtured, and from the customers who count on you and rely on you is really difficult. Anyway, like I said, that is why Craig and Kevin were taking on. So they were away today to trim what I thought would be about 40 cows, but turned out to be 74. Yes, that's right, I said they were away today to trim 74 cows. Right now is actually after they got back. How beautiful is it where I live, by the way? And yes, I am being rather lazy and kind of hovering along the road. Whoa! Nearly fell off. So in this video, I'm going to grade and critique and talk about two trims that Craig did today when I wasn't there. I asked them specifically to video a trim where the cow was probably not really needing much other than a routine trim, and to pick a cow with a problem to trim. That's a nerve-wracking thing. Obviously these videos get seen by sometimes millions or tens of millions of people. So Craig stepped up to the plate and like I say, he videoed today's cow. I wouldn't let the boys go out trimming alone if I didn't know they were up to the job, but critiquing them whilst I'm not there may seem harsh, and probably, well, it's definitely very nerve-wracking for Craig. I know that because he struggles with confidence sometimes needlessly. Anyway, shut up, let's get on with it. Here is Craigie Boy's first trim, the routine one.
Right, so let's absolutely tear this to pieces. I am of course joking, but I will be super critical and 100% honest. Clearly this cow's hoof doesn't have all that much wrong with it, and I'm assuming that she's not lame because Craig has chosen this as his first cow to video for me. You should also know that this video footage has been slowed down by 30%. Anyway, this cow has clearly got a pretty good hoof to start with, and Craig is being very delicate with his grinder strokes to make sure that he doesn't go too far. She was definitely a little high on that inside claw, and on the front feet, that is where you would usually find a problem if there were one. Craig has reduced more height from that inner claw than from the outer claw, and that's exactly what he would need to do because it was higher to begin with. He's shortening the toes there with the edge of his grinder, and right now they're looking pretty much perfect, so I hope he doesn't go too far. He's began the model with the edge of his grinder blade. We do that routinely because it speeds up the whole process, but we usually finish it off with a knife. And right on cue, Craig picks up the wrong knife before selecting the right one. Modelling out a hoof really helps to alleviate pressure on the typical sole ulcer site. These high points, or even if they're level with the rest of the hoof, can really lead to bruising and ultimately sole ulceration. Craig's on a much wider model on that inside claw because that's the predominant claw that we see problems with. He's now doing a small but important model on that outer claw. It helps to alleviate the problems that a build-up of slurry can cause. There is, however, one slight issue with this trim. Craig has extended the model of the inner claw down into this portion of the foot. We should really try to preserve this bottom third portion of the sole to protect its integrity and minimise the risk of anything going wrong. As it stands, nothing will go wrong with this. It is only a very slight error, and I am being super critical.
Not all that much to it, is there? But believe it or not, it takes a great amount of skill to make it look that easy. Craig did a perfect job. I knew he would, but a lot of the time when I'm there, he'll ask me, is this okay, is that okay? And I end up interfering when perhaps I shouldn't. That trim was fantastic. Well done, Craig. Right, on to the meat of this video. On to the problematic hoof.
Alright, so I'm just going for it.
You can clearly hear the trepidation and nerves in his voice there. This cow has what appears at first sight to be an ulcer. I can also tell that she has previously been trimmed, and I know for a fact that it wasn't by us. So, Craig is trimming a cow's hoof that has already been seen. Let's see what he makes of it. So this video has not been sped up or slowed down in any way, and that lets you appreciate just how gentle Craig is being with the blade of his grinder. Because this cow has previously been trimmed, he is clearly aware that he could go too far very easily indeed. Craig has already very delicately made sure that both claws are the same length and the same height. He's now moved on to the inner claw, completely ignoring the problem. Which in this instance is absolutely correct. He's preparing that inner claw to take a block. Because of where the ulcer site is, and the height of the inner claw compared to the outer claw, Craig needs to attach this block if he ever wants to get this cow pain-free and on the road to recovery. Now that he's done that, he goes to town with giving it a bit of a wash so that he can see more clearly what needs or doesn't need to be done. These ulcers are notoriously painful. Because it's more towards the centre of the sole, it's much harder to get the weight completely away from that ulcer site through trimming alone, which is why putting a block on is absolutely 100% necessary. Using his fingers there around the heel or the heel bulb of this cow's foot, Craig was trying to determine whether or not she had a double sole. It would appear at this stage that Craig has determined that she does not have a double sole, otherwise he would have been trimming that away from the heel bulb. What Craig's doing right now is called thinning out the margins, basically meaning leaving no hard edges around the lesion site. This helps the lesion to begin healing without being insulted by any of the surrounding hard-edged hoof horn. Clearly I wasn't there today, but I feel I must point out that the moos you can hear in the background are very likely not from the cow in the crush. The boys had to set up today in amongst a few sheds, which, by their very nature, were full of dairy cows. We can all quite clearly hear Craig's disappointment there. He's gone slightly too deep in the pursuit of perfection, partly probably because he was filming this for us all to view and critique. That small graze will be inconsequential to the cow, but like I and many other trimmers have done in the past, when this happens, your heart truly skips a beat. This isn't something you want to happen, but from time to time it is absolutely inevitable. With the addition of that block though, this will not be problematic for the cow in any way. Spraying the area with Repoderma will help to alleviate the likelihood of infection. Personally though, I would have used iodine to help dehydrate that area and spur on the healing process.
Nicely done, Huff. That cow will be very thankful that Craig saw to her today. Obviously there was a little slip up with the knife, and that's partly probably because Craig was videoing this. I thoroughly believe that if Craig wasn't videoing that foot, he probably wouldn't have made that slip up. He was in the pursuit of the absolute perfect trim, knowing that I was going to critique this to hundreds of thousands of people. Regardless of that small slip up, that slight graze of her corium, this cow will be all the better for this trim, and I'm really glad. Oh, angry dog. That's Lancelot's farm, by the way. So yeah, regardless of the small slip up, the slight mistake, this cow will be all the better for this trim, and she will be much, much more comfortable. The blocks elevating that sore hoof off the ground, and him removing all of the detached hoof horn round about it that would be dragging into the ulcer and provoking it, antagonising it, aggravating the flesh around it, will mean that this ulcer can now start the process of healing. Anyway, this was Graham Parker, the Hoof GP, and Craigie Boy's masterful skills being shown to the world. Thank you very much for watching. Catch you next time on the Hoof GP.